see this thing out. Okay. Next one ni saya nak beritahu baru-baru ni I have the Major Chang Kalun talk on the supply chain during the COVID. Okay, sebenarnya saya nak kamu hadir mulai saat ni. Dia akan datang lagi bulan 4 ni dia akan datang lagi. Bulan 5 the final one. Because I personally calling him to give 3 times talk on this case. Okay, dia jarang nak buat macam gini, senang nak dapat dia. He's a very busy man. So kalau kamu tak dapat hadir, tak dapat datang, kamu tak dapat tengok, you will never experience what it's all about here. Okay, that was a very interesting topic. I was not around because I have another one more online di Terengganu sana di UMT. Okay, this one. Berapa bulan tak siap 27 bulan kot this month. Saya dah lupa dah berapa bulan on Tuesday, bulan puasa tu. And then dia akan buat sebelah petang, pukul 2 petang. Tapi sebelah pagi on the same day tu ada satu lagi. This time by the Saudi group about the halal. Yang ini saya nak kamu hadir juga. Okay. Pasal yang ni it is about the supply chain and how the halal punya perspektif tu masuk ke situ. It's a very interesting topic and kalau saya nak cakap, nak beritahu, nak lecture on this case-nya, I think I need another one more semester kot. Talk about 10 years. Tapi tak apalah. You all have to go to that 10 years. Okay. Because I purposely, dia pun saya minta untuk buat 3. Tahu bulan ni, bulan depan dan bulan satu lagi bulan 6. So I hope that you better attend yang ni. Because it's not easy to call all these industry people here and give a talk, especially to you all. Okay. Jadi bila saya cakap datang tu datanglah. Jangan tak datang. And then these people all bila cakap, you can give them and check them. And then you can use the citations from them. Ingat your project assignment needs a lot of citations. Ingat tu baik-baik. Citation especially from the people who give the speech ke, give you the talk ke, macam gini saya nak. Belajar dari saat ni. Because these are the actual thing happening. Okay. Alright, now shall we go to group 2 presentation now? Siapa leader group 2 ni?
Saya, Doktor.
Okay, you can start now. Alright, good. Proceed.
Okay. A very good morning to Dr. Adam and my fellow classmates. We are group 2 and today we will be presenting the second chapter, supply strategy. Before we start, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Christina Chuanhui, matrix number 263314.
Okay, my name is Nur Nabila binti Osman, matrix number is 263682.
My name is Aisyah Dabeti Musa, my matric number 261383.
My name is Siti Nahazira Hani binti Mazni, my matric number 261248.
For the introduction, in this chapter, the strategy of the supply will be discussed and explained in detail. The key question for the supply strategy is how can the supply and supply chain contribute to the organizational objective and the strategy. In general, supply is all about providing something to accomplish other people's needs. And a supply strategy is an action plan that designed to provide the contribution of the supply chain that can impact effectively towards the organization, long-term goals, and their objective. The supply strategy should always follow the organizational objective and support the content of their organizational strategy. The strategy need to be practical and achievable to ensure that it can be put into practice and help in achieve the company goals and target. To be successful, the business should approach their strategic planning to 3 different levels. For the corporate level, the decision and the plan must answering the question of what type of business are we in and how can we allocate the resources effectively. For the business unit level, the decision should mold the plan for the particular business unit to contribute to the corporate strategy. and the business unit usually refer to the profit center that can generate incomes and money. For the function level, the plans need to concern how can each functional area of the company can contribute towards the business strategy and allocation. Functional area refer to the department of the company. Next.
Okay, I will continue this presentation. Significant of the topic. We are known that
Hold on first. Siapa cakap
Nabila.
Bila. Okay, carry on.
Okay. We are known that a well-developed supply strategy is important to make a business sustain in the market. We know that an organization to stay competitive, their supply chain strategy will need to be enhanced every time. They need to be keep a track with their plan and be prepared to make a new plan before unpredictable problem occur. We're about to discuss the major challenge in organization supply strategy, strategic planning in supply management, risk management, and strategic component. Okay. There are three major challenges that we need to consider in organization supply strategy. First is effective interpretation of objective and supply objective. Manager need develop objective framework first. Second is choose of the appropriate action plan or strategy to achieve the desired objective. Company need to choose the effective strategy and action to achieve the objective. Third is identification and feedback of supply issue to be integrated into organizational objective and strategy. For six major strategic planning in supply management, first is accuracy of supply strategy. It's designed to ensure that future supply need meet with emphasis on quantity and quality. Insurance of supply strategies must consider change in both demand and supply. Second is cost reduction strategy to reduce the land down cost of what is occurrence or total cost of acquisition and use life cycle cost. Company need to know how much raw material cost, wage cost, and other before producing a product. After that, we need to know how price the goods are sold in the market. The price must be able to roll back with the capital price and get the profit as well. With change in technology, alternative may be available to reduce an organization overall operating costs through change in material, sources, method, and buyer supply relationship. The second is supply chain support strategies. Desire maximize the likelihood that we consider able knowledge and the capability of supply chain member are available to buying organization. This is say supply chain member need to know about their product. Then they need to know the advantage and advantage of the item. This is because they can influence people to buy their product. The better communication system are needed between buyer and the seller to facilitate accurate notification. They also need relations for the communication need to ensure higher quality and better design. Third is environment change strategy. To anticipate and organize shift in the competitive environment such as economy, organizational, people, legal, government, relation and control, and the technological. That is can turn them to the long-term advantage of the buying organization. Fifth is competitive edge strategy. Company need to know who the competitive of offering the same product as our product. Company need to think about how this buyer to attract and see our product compared to other company product. For example, our company produce and sell coffee, but many other companies sell coffee as well. So we think about how we want buyer to be attract to our coffee. So we can find a model coffee with influence artists like BTS, Blackpink. So maybe this way people will attract to our product. Uh, Six is risk management strategy. For risk strategy, my partner will explain later.
Okay, next, there are three types of supply risk. First is operational risk, risk of interruption of the flow of goods or service. For example, earthquake, tornadoes, hurricane, war, floods, or fire may totally disable to vital supplier. Short-term interruption related to the weather accident on key roads also affect buying organization capability to provide good customer service. Okay, next is financial risk. Financial risk is the risk of the price of the goods or service acquired will change significantly. For example, in commodity market, increase in the price of oil affect price paid for fuel, energy, and those products or service that require oil as a key ingredient of raw material. Third is reputational risk. This that the organization reputation will be harmed by a supplier decision. For example, Walmart conduct more than 20,000 audit each year to ensure compliance with responsible sourcing program which set standard for supplier located in emerging economy in areas such as labor, employment, practice, and employees. Okay, next is the nine strategy in supply strategy. First is what to make or buy, what in source or outsource, whether the organization will acquire the standard item and material readily available in market as opposed as special costume specific requirement. Okay, second is quality. Quality is what is quality of item or service to be acquired. Company need to make sure that more consistent quality of end product output to the maintenance, growth, and market share. Supplier involvement also need such as in zero defect plan, lepas tu quality certification program and process quality control program. Okay, third is how much. How much to be acquired in a total and per delivery. For example, in GNT MRP, the trend have been toward small quantities to be delivered as need opposed the former stand or buying large quantity at time to ensure better price. That is what is WU. WU should buying and how to organize the supply function. Whether supply chain should be centralized or decentralized. When staff should be located geographically and what extent top management involved in the total acquisition process. Okay, third is when. When to buy. The obvious choice now versus later. The strategy lies with quality forward buying and inventory policy. C is what price. Whether the organization intend to pursue paying in a premium price, standard price, or lower price. The pursuit of cost-based strategy as opposed to market-based strategy, the choice of list make or buy a present strategy alternative. Next is where. Where obvious trade-off include local, regional, domestic, international, large versus small, multiple single versus sole source, current, new versus newly developed supplier, high versus low supplier turnover, supplier certification, and supplier ownership. Okay, it is how to buy. How to buy is supply chain integration of system and procedure like e-commerce. We can negotiation, competitive bid, fixed bid, blanket order, system contracting, MRP, group buying, active, aggressive, and value analysis. Okay, last is why. Why objectives congruent operationally and strategically. Market condition, current and future. Internal reasons such like outside supply and inside supply. For example, a strong engineer requirement. The availability of action fund may afford opportunity to acquire supply through backward or vertical integration. The reason inside supplier may be related to the capability and available of supply personnel. A highly trained and effective supply group can pursue more aggressive, strategic, and less qualified. Next.
Okay, for problem statement of this chapter is first, for supply chain strategy contribute the organization objective. This is say supply chain strategy is very important in every company. If it has a weakness, this will be a problem in their company performance. Second is insufficient knowledge of manager and supply chain strategy will contribute organization to achieve their objective. Each manager is responsible for generating idea in supply chain strategy. If the manager does not have enough skill, this will cause various problems in the company. For the objective, first is to determine the relationship of organization objective and supply strategy. Second, to identify the challenge and risk in organizing supply strategy. Third is to determine the six sub-strategy in setting up supply strategy. Fourth, to understand the process in setting up supply strategy in supply management. Fifth, to analyze how a well-developed supply strategy help in achieve organization objective. Six, to determine the component in strategic planning.
Okay, that is the contribution of topic or article. This is the framework of Misbus strategy. Harry Misbus is a Canadian management scientist, established a 5 vision for organization strategy in 1987. He refers 5 PS strategies such as plan, plot, pattern, position, and perspective. These 5 elements enable company to develop more effective strategy. The strategy aims for the future, long term, and include multiple aspects of organization. Competition is always a factor, but designing tactics exclusively for rivals would be a mistake. The strategies should take into the account of the organization culture as well as other opportunity and innovation. Developing a successful strategy ni is challenging. That's why we should have many different approach of strategy. Okay, first is plan. Development of strategy in advance with a purpose. Planning is something that many managers are happy with, and sometimes that come naturally to us. As such, is default automatic approach that we adopt, brainstorming option and planning how to deliver them. It's fine. And planning is an essential part of strategy formulation process. Okay, next is ploy. Ploy is the strategy is a device and implement with the specific goal to build and outperforming the competition in the industry, thereby achieving competitive advantage in industry. Rivalry is unavoidable. As your progress in the same market, we can see in this scenario, you will need to employ a unique strategy to outsmart other market player and gain a significant competitive advantage. For example, grocery chain might threaten to expand a store so that a competitor doesn't move into the same area. Okay, next is pattern. Pattern, rather than being a pre-plan, change, the ultimate approach emerges as a trend that take into account different internal and external consumption. In Miss Bur's concept strategy, using the right pattern of the kind of ad that have worked for you in the past, it also include. After that, the working pattern has been evaluated. The next step is determine which one should be kept or improved, as well where completely new pattern should be implemented. Whereas plan can be taught at expected strategy. In misburst strategy, as the pattern of strategy is motion. For instance, imagine a manager who make decision that product enhance is already highly responsive customer support process. Despite not deliberately choosing to build a strategy advantage, this pattern of action nevertheless create one. Next is position. Position is another way that defines strategy. This is how we decide to position ourselves in the marketplace. Is this way, in the way, strategy help you explore the fit between your organization and your environment. It help you to develop a sustainable competitive advantage. For example, the strategy might include developing a nice product to avoid competition or choosing to position yourself among a variety of competitors while looking for a way to different need their service. Okay, next is lastly is the perspective. The choice an organization make about strategy really heavily on culture. Just as a pattern of behavior can emerge strategy, pattern of thinking which shape on organization perspective and the thing is able to do well. For example, organization that encourage risk taking and innovation from employees might focus on coming up with innovative product as the main thrust behind its strategy. By contrast, organization that emphasizes the reliable processing of data may follow a strategy of offering this service to other organizations under outsourcing arrangement. Okay, next.
Okay, next. Next is literature review. We have a supply chain in literature review. Okay, supply chain management is the management of the flow of goods, services, and include all the process that transform from raw material to final products. This supply chain management represent a conscious effort by the supply chain firm to develop and run supply chain in the most effective and efficient way possible. The active management of the supply chain, the active management of supply chain activity to maximize customer value and achieve a sustainable competitive advantage. For decision phase can be defined as the different stage involved in supply chain management for taking an action decision related to some product or service. It Each of decision phase have different roles. Decision phase can be defined as a different stage involved in supply chain management for taking an action or decision related to some product or service. Each of decision phase have different roles and time working duration. The decision phase is supply chain management consists of supply chain strategy, supply chain planning, and supply chain operation. For the supply chain strategy, determine the overall structure of the supply chain for the following couple of years. The decision to be made is taken by top management for long-term and prediction, such as consider future condition of the market, deciding to manufacture the material, factory location and factory location which should be easy for transporter to load material and to dispatch at their mentioned location of warehouse for storage of complete product or goods. For the supply chain planning is the process of anticipating the demand for product and planning their material and component, production, marketing, distribution, and sale. Supply chain planning is tactical approach that when done well, help optimize the manufacture and delivery of products. It can lower production costs, increase sale, and help manage relationship with supplier. Supply chain operation is including the various functional decision and works on the weekly or day-to-day activity with a short time frame, weekly, daily, or hourly working with minimum demand uncertainty. The objective of this decision phase is minimizing uncertainty and performance optimization. Next.
Ni Azira.
Ya,
Nak tanya.
ya.
Faham tak apa yang awak baca tu?
Faham, Doktor?
Saya dari mula sampai akhir awak baca tengok. Faham ke?
Faham.
Betul ke ni?
Betul, Doktor. Cuma nervous.
Kalau awak baca, yalah. Kalau awak baca gitu lama-lama awak tak faham. Awak kena faham betul dan cakap lah apa yang awak faham. Jangan baca. Kan saya cakap, presentation ni dia bukan untuk baca tau. Dia bercerita. Jadi saya nak awak bercerita lah. Faham tak? Bercerita apa yang awak faham. Salah pun tak apalah. Saya tak sering sangat dalam perkara ni. Yang penting ni nak tengok awak faham ke tak. Awak kena bercerita. Okay? Jangan baca-baca kau nanti semua ngantuk orang ni. Dalam pagi ni ramai semua nak kelas pagi. Okay? Okay, next.
Okay, now I will continue to the process flow. Okay, next. Everybody must understand that an effective contribution entails more than just simply follow the instruction from the top management. It also needs the input to the strategic planning process so that our organizational strategy can include the supply objective and also the opportunity and the problem. This can be shown in this figure with the use of the double arrow between the supply objective and strategy with the organization objective and the strategy. Okay, usually the organizational objective can be summarized under 4 different categories, which is the survival or the longevity, the growth, the financial, and the sustainability. Example, the growth in the size of a company in terms of the number of workers and assets. However, the supply objective may be expressed in a totally different way. They might more focus on the quantity and the function, the delivery, the term and condition of the product or raw material, the price, and the services. It is very necessary for every company to align their supply objective with their organizational objective, as the differences between the two will lead to the difficulty in formulating an effective supply strategy. Next. The primary focus when designing an effective supply strategy is to link our strategy of current and future needs to the market. The company might face a lot of problems, such as the problem of out of stock or inaccurate focus demand, just because of the improper and poor functioning supply chain. They might also not able to predict what is the latest needs and the preference of the customer because of not accurate predictions. So the market is very necessary for the company to understand the needs and the latest trend of the market so they can make a more accurate strategy and suitable strategy for it. Next. Okay, this is the strategy purchasing planning process. We must understand that the planning process normally will focus on the long-term opportunity and not mainly for the immediate problems. The process starts with restate out the organizational goal, what we want to achieve, what we hope to get. And then we need to determine all the supply objective that can contribute effectively towards our goal. And then we need to identify and isolate all the factors that might affecting the achievement of our supply objective. After identifying all the possible factors, we need to analyze and identify the alternative that can help us to solve or minimize the factors. After gather all the possible and relevant data and information, we need to determine out and develop the most suitable supply strategy. If the supply strategy is not good enough, we might need to go back to the first step, restate again our organizational goal. After developing out the supply strategy, we need to constantly review the implementation factors and gain the commitment from every involved parties and ensuring the implementation are carried out smoothly in each level in the supply chain. And lastly, we must constantly evaluate the result of our strategy that we applied. Using KPI is very necessary to monitor the strategy are driving our company towards the goal that we aim. Next.
Okay, for important finding, the overall finding of this chapter firmly sustain the critical importance of supply chain management practice and incorporate for manufacturing organization. Therefore, this strategy supply is very important in any management. Strategic is an action plan to achieve certain long-term goal and objective. The major factor in generating future earning and is critical to survival is the ability to relate effectively to outside environment such as social, economic, political, legal and technological to anticipate change, to adjust to change and to capitalize on opportunities by formulating and executing strategic plan. Supply strategy is plan of action intended to help a company to make specific long-term goal and objective. Therefore, a well-developed strategic supply chain can bring a lot of result to the organization. In the conclusion, supply strategic plan need to be developed for purchasing and supply management for an organization. Effective strategic planning must be included in three levels, which are corporate, business unit, and function the established long-term objective and goal. There are major challenges in setting those supply objectives and strategies. So that competitive as recruit management and strategic skill to adjust to change and to capitalize on any opportunities. If successful, the strategy will lead the organizations to anticipate the competitive environment, which is a part of the long-term planning process. The supply manager always be prepared to meet these difficulties in achieve the standard potential of supply's contribution target by organization, as the number of strategic options available is almost limitless.
Sorry, sir, my internet connection got problem, so I switched off my video.
Okay.
Okay, for the recommendation, our first recommendation is each of the organization should understand what is the importance of the supply strategy in the supply management. As the supply strategy is very important in guarantee that our company having a smooth transition of production either in short run or long run period. Planning a proper supply strategy can help the company to drive down their overall operational costs and maximize the efficiency and the productivity of the company. Everyone must remember that the best strategy is the one that can apply or accomplish. No point if the plan that we design we cannot implementing it. So all the strategy must be practical. Okay, the next recommendation is conduct the internal meetings. Yeah. Yes, dengar tak?
Dengar?
Okay.
Somebody call Christina. Siapa tu?
Nabila. Okay.
Dah.
I'll continue with.
Okay.
Okay. Is to conduct the internal meeting frequently, as the communication and discussion is very important during the developing and also the implementing process. Meeting frequently can help all the members to brainstorm and generate small ideas and also find out all the possible careless mistake that we make during the developing of the supply strategy. And the third recommendation is to have a good relationship with the suppliers, as the supply chain process is begin with our supplier. So it is very necessary for us to evaluate the relationship with our supplier to avoid the problems such as the delay in shipments or supply shortage. The supplier might be more willing to provide us the latest trend of product on the market. And lastly is the needs of the risk management. Risks might occur in the supply chain that potentially will interrupt the management and also our strategy performance. In the end, it might cause the supply chain collapse. A good risk management structure must be able to calculate and identify all the uncertainty and predict their influence towards our organization objective and also help us to maintain our company survival and longevity. That's it.
Finish? Christina? Is it over?
Yes, over.
It's over. Okay, never mind. Let me open your, switch on your video.
So we still got SWOT analysis, haven't yet?
Yeah, hold on first.
Okay.
Hold on first, Okay. Where's your PDF?
Ke saya yang nak share untuk video, Doktor?
Tak apa. Kalau you share lah, dia tak ini. Yang kena share. Sekejap. Wait, I mean your slide. Slide. I saw your report. Group 2. No, Fadli dan Kak ada. I saw your video. How can I see your slide? Baru jumpa. Akan nama Nur Fadlin kat sini ya. open up for you. This. Okay. Nampak tak? Nampak tak? Your slide nampak tak?
Nampak, Doktor?
Okay. Indian tak apa. Ini lain ni. Conclusion. You finish your recommendation, isn't it? That's your SWOT. Okay, continue. Use my slides, huh? Use the one I'm sharing now. Okay, carry on.
Okay, our group choose Shangri-La Hotel and Hilton for SWOT. Okay, next, Doctor. For SWOT Shangri-La, I pick one. The strength is strong relationship with exist supplier. Shangri-La has a strong relationship with supplier and other member of the supplier chain. For example, leading fitness equipment supplier, Star Trek, has been named a global supplier of fitness equipment for Shangri-La. The multi-year agreement provide the opportunity to enhance the premium guest experience at all Shangri-La with a range of cardio equipment, innovative Star Trek group workout and customer-focused service solution. For the weakness, first is expensive price. Price Shangri-La has relatively expensive price compared to other hotels. Intimate room rate are RM 316 to RM 7,000 per night compare other than hotel. Customer who want to save money, they will choose the cheaper price. Only financial influence customer can stay at this hotel. The opportunity, access to internal talent in the global market. One of the challenge facing Shangri-La right now is limited access to the high-end talent market due to limited budget. Expansions into internet market could help Shangri-La to enter international talent. This can also help bring talent to the domestic market and expand into the field of organizational culture, the supply chain. For the trade, China-US trade relation, Shangri-La is focusing on China for the next phase of growth. But there are growing tension between China-US trade relation, and this could lead to protectionism, more international trade relation, rising costs both in terms of labor cost and the cost of doing business. Next is SWOT for Hilton Hotel. Next, Doctor.
Okay. The strength of Hilton Hotel, the first one is the performance management. Hilton Hotel has the best hotel management and the rating system in the hospitality sector. This existing of the system has made one of the best hospitality operation technically, and also the brand image of the Hilton Hotel. Hilton Hotel is one of the branded hotel, and it is well known in the international level. The hotel has long been established in the hospitality industry, and their good services have improved their hotel brand. And for the weaknesses, their most greatest weakness is the high attrition rate in the workforce, as the worker are normally part-time worker, so their resign rate are more higher compared to the others. Okay, these high attrition rates have causes the hotel need to incur more costs to provide the training and development for their employees. And for the opportunity, the Hilton Hotel are currently undergoing new product development. Hilton Hotel has created a concept of dual-branded Hilton property that can have the common features, and many guests will want to visit the hotel and they really like it. And for the trade, the largest trade for the hotel is the pandemic trade. As COVID-19 pandemic has greatly impacted the global supply network and also led to the feeling of ramifications. The closure of the national border and the large amount of factory closure lead to the widespread of the supply chain collapse. Okay, this problem have causes Hilton Hotel facing the problem of difficulty in ensuring their inventory availability. Hence, they are currently facing a large challenges to ensure that their open hotel are getting adequate product and services that they needed. That's all. Thank you, Doctor.
Doctor, mute.
Mute. Ni, your slide boleh buka ke nanti? Your side? Nabila?
Can, Doctor?
Can. Suppose from the beginning you use yours one tadi. Okay, tak apa, never mind. Now sekarang ni I open up the video for my side here. Share here. Okay, Diago. Okay. Diago. That's it, Diago. Okay. Saya buka. Tak ada. Oh, yang ni. Silap. This one. Okay. Okay. Boleh nampak ah?
Doktor, sorry interrupt. Saya rasa
Ya.
video ni tak bergerak ataupun suara
bergerak.
problem. Ya betul.
Kenapa tak cakap? Tak
Saya
ingat
seorang je
jalan
macam
tak?
tu.
Ya ke? What did you mention tadi? My goodness. Nanti
Sorry,
sekejap
doktor.
You mention tadi, saya tanya tadi, ada ke tak ada? Okay, nanti sekejap Pause lah. Apa ambil pause ni? People are viewing. Share some stuff. Nah, let me share again lah. Let me share again. Mana? Saya tanya tadi, nampak tak seorang pun tak jawab. Maknanya juga. Stop showing. Sekarang. Oh, I tak buat ni Okay. I think this stop. Yes. Okay. Mestinya lagi lah ni. Nampak tak? Nampak tak ni? Nabila?
Doktor.
Nampak doktor.
Nampak tak?
Tapi suara tak ada. Mesti doktor tak tekan tempat share tu. Kat share tu ada pilihan untuk sound. Doktor tak
Kat
share.
mana? Kat mana?
Kat tempat share.
Tempat share.
Share. Doktor keluar balik
mana?
kot.
Share content.
Tutup sharing dulu.
Stop sharing.
Okay. Lepas tu kan, buka tempat share tu.
Sekejap.
Tekan button share.
Sekejap. Ni kenapa lah susah dengan dia ni. Sekarang saya buka share balik. Okay.
Lepas tu kan, kat atas tu ada tempat tempat option optimize for text and image kan doktor. Lepas tu bawah tu ada pilihan optimize of motion and video. Doktor tekan tu.
Tak nampak ah.
Ada. Kat atas button tu kat belah kiri atas.
Sekejap Sekarang ni saya buka dekat sini dulu. Lepas tu saya nak tekan share menu
Kat share content
Share bawah. Saya share kat bawah ni.
Okay,
bawah
share.
sini. Lepas tu
tekan. Lepas tu kan
optimize text
ada pilihan. Doktor pilih yang bawah. Lagi satu yang motion and video ke apa. Dia ada dua pilihan tu.
Dia tulis share sini tau. Microsoft Edge.
Optimize for motion and video. Doktor tekan tu.
Oh, ni optimize for text and images.
Lepas tu ada pilihan kan?
Optimize for text. Oh ya, okay.
Doktor tekan.
Yang tu, okay. Lepas tu share ni lah. Betul lah?
Ya, cuba try.
Okay, nampak tak? Nampak tak?
A global spirits company.
Nampak suara ada tak?
Spirits company.
Ada.
In Australia, we have multiple well-known brands like Bundaberg Rum, Smirnoff, Bailey's, Johnny Walker, Tanqueray.
Okay, doktor. Okay, cantik.
SKUs across our portfolio, of ranging from A class to C class SKUs. 80% of the sales of what we sell here in Australia is produced here locally at Huntingwood.
Yeah, local production is just shy of 10 million cases a year. So previously we had a more complicated network structure, I guess. We had a number of warehouses in Queensland. We had 2 warehouses in Sydney and 1 in WA. So what this has enabled us to do is to consolidate all our warehousing down into 3 warehouses, and predominantly the 2 in Sydney into 1 warehouse. We get a number of savings, obviously, from consolidation of those 2 warehouses. This is now the major distribution point within Australia for all of our network. We believe that having our own in-house NDC will give us a lot of flexibility around lead times, urgent orders that our customers generally do request. Having that in-house, we can make that decision of cost versus lead time versus service a lot better than relying on somebody else. And having 1 site versus 2 sites and reducing the number of shuttles. I think the number is 2,500 trucks off the road a year by not doing that shuttle leg, and that's a great win for our company and environmental targets that we aim for as well.
So the business case was signed off in July 2013, and then we went into demolition in January of the next year, 2014.
So during the 14 months of actual construction, when we tore down the old building, we're operating in a very confined space.
Wow.
The congestion of vehicles on site, construction teams on site, etc., did pose a bit of a challenge. Being an operating site, so the production side of the facility didn't actually stop running during that period of time. But throughout that whole period, we worked really well together.
Luckily, we had a good partner. Bev Chain really helped us out in terms of running our Erskine Park facility and being flexible there. But also the staff went over and above around making sure that we could operate safely downstairs in that tough environment, but also manage our costs during that time.
Yeah, I think Dematic, right from the forefront, said it was going to be a challenge with the tight time frames that we put in. But I think what came out of the project was the consistency, the tenacity of the Dematic team that build what we see today, and the effort that went into that was outstanding.
To optimise the height of the building, Dematic selected a open face rack design. What that means is that we have no beams within the pallet, so the pallets are actually being held up by pallet runners. And over the design of the racking, that means that we can fit more pallets vertically within any given space.
Why did we embark on it? Cost is an important factor. In terms of consolidating your stock into one place, that gives good service advantage. One of the number one measure for Diageo is around service to our customers. And we think we'll improve service by between 3 and 5% by consolidating that stock within one warehouse.
So the old DC, before we demolished it, was a 10,000 pallet warehouse. With the introduction of the Dematic High Bay warehouse, we've gone from 10,000 to 26,000 pallets.
One of the implementation challenges is the in-rack sprinkler systems. These systems are effectively integrated within the actual racking and need to be integrated and worked within the actual construction process. So the Dematic project team came up with a principle where we broke the 6-aisle warehouse into 2 lots of 3 aisles, and by working through that in that fashion and effectively like zigzagging through the warehouse, we're able to then deliver the racking in the timeline that was required.
One of the mantras, I guess, for this project was touch once. The more times you pick up a pallet, the more times you drop it off, the more times you put it on a truck, the more chance you put doing some damage.
Some of the time we're touching it between 4 and 8 times before it would get to the customer.
So we have a production facility on site. What we produce on site will be stored in the high warehouse and then be dispatched out to customers.
So by eliminating that process, just having one consolidated warehouse, we're able to take a number of touches and actually transport movements within Diageo's supply chain, and that's enabled them to have a far more efficient operation. Along with supply is the IT system that Dematic provides, which is our warehouse control system. And that effectively interfaces to the paperless warehouse management system and also coordinates all of the real-time missions for both pallet movement and also for the crane movement.
The major advantage of this project is going to be when we come to our peak period. So during October, November, December, we can have a plant running 24/6 basically. Our staff right throughout this process have been amazing. They love the investment we're making in Australia, and to have a $20 million or $21 million investment on site has really been a shot in the arm of confidence that we've got in our local industry.
I think that's probably one of my proudest moments, is that having a warehouse crew that have been engaged from day one and taken the ownership of the actual project and wanting to drive the right business outcomes is something that I've not seen in the industry.
I thought that they'd start to tire after 6 months, but I've been absolutely amazed by particularly our warehouse staff, how they've stayed committed to this project for the last 14 months. And even today, as they learn new ways of doing things, they really had a positive attitude, and that's been a main success in the project.
We've gone live around 2 weeks ago, and we're still settling down our processes, etc. Dematic and paperless warehousing have worked really well with us to ensure that bedding down process is happening as quickly as possible.
So we sell to around about 120 customers here in Australia.
The good news so far is that our customers haven't noticed the difference. During the 14 months of the project, we kept in regular communication with all of our major customers to tell them what was going on in case they experienced issues. The good news was that during that time, they really didn't experience issues. Once we actually have all our product in one spot, which will be from next week at the beginning of April, that's when they'll really start to see that benefit of consolidation of our products and that flexibility that I've talked about, how that will start to translate into better service levels to the likes of Coles, Woolworths and ALN.
Something manufacturing process centers. Yes. Okay. So what do you think of that video? Siapa ni? Ya. Oh, nak tengok yang ni pun lain lagi. Okay. So what do you think of the video?
Very interesting.
See,
Really.
so far the first one, the first group they did was very interesting because change more change, and this time also it's very interesting. You see, dulu about more than 10 years ago, about 15 years ago, bila saya mula nak buat, saya berkenaan dengan warehouse, so many has been asking me why warehouse, because my doctorate thesis is about a warehouse. Dia cakap warehouse ni senang sangat, dia cakap. Warehouse ni senang sangat. Saya cakap, mana kamu tahu senang? Yalah, saya tengok banyak store biasa, barang masuk keluar, tu je. Saya beritahu mereka, nampak sangat kamu ni duduk bawah, apa tu, macam kata duduk bawah tempurung dah. You are not looking outside world. My last job, okay, sebelum tu saya ni latar belakang saya is more on the material management je, okay, and also warehouse, on the warehouse. Selain daripada management, material management tu, I also very well experienced person dalam warehouse management, okay, and of course in the supply chain also lah. Tapi warehouse tu saya ada peluang pasal saya manage warehouse, okay. Jadi bayangkan lah, kalau orang macam saya, bila saya cakap, masa saya kerja dulu, I'm in charge managing the daily inventory of, at one time, peak time, very very peak time, daripada raw material sampai ke finish good tu semua saya jaga, okay. The value dia is about 100 million USD per day, daily inventory turnaround, turnover. Kamu tahu tak berapa besar nilai dan barang-barang yang ada di situ? Kamu tahu berapa banyak barang-barang dia ada di situ? Hanya orang yang faham, pernah duduk kat situ, dia tahu how big it is. Jadi kalau nak manage warehouse kan, dia turnover macam gitunya banyak. Okay, and the value of that materials ataupun products ataupun finished goods, kamu boleh tahu sendirilah. Bukan satu perkara yang senang, mudah dan dia terlalu besar. Okay, dan saya ada peluang yang tu. It's not easy. Okay, it's not easy. Itulah dia. Itu sebabnya kenapa bila saya mula explore banyak, saya tengok salah satu punca students kita, especially in the operation management, logistics especially, dan juga operation management, mereka ni mesti didedahkan dengan site visit. Compulsory. Dalam kelas saya is compulsory. Tapi pasal COVID tak boleh compulsory je lah. Jadi saya buat compulsory dengan cara lain. So, you find the company, Okay, you have to check on the company, tengok company tu macam mana, and you have to interview them. Tapi to interview them tu, you have to do some preparations. Hanya tu cara yang boleh kamu belajar dengan cara yang betul lah. That's the reason why when this kind of things happening, okay, kamu tengok tadi video tadi tu, okay, itu kalau tak silap saya is about 10 years ago tu. 10 years ago. Okay, kamu bayangkan 10 years ago tu dia orang cakap canggih. Sekarang punya level agak-agak kamu macam mana? Teknologi tu mula berubah makin naik. Lagi canggih tak? Lagi canggih. Dah tak ada pakai human being lagi dah. Semua teknologi, semua robotics. That's why you have to know. OIR is like that. OIR is like that. Okay. Kawan saya di ICCL, dia tuan punya company tu, dia invested di dalam, I think 3 or 4 years ago to build one new warehouse, new high-tech teknologi, kali pakai 100% computerized. Manpower tak ramai pakai. Barang tu masuk semua robot naik jalan ni kali kan Invested about 60 million ringgit just for that aja. New building, new technologies naik 60 million. Kali ni dia very canggih. Dia lagi canggih daripada apa yang kamu nampak je. Yang tadi tu dia tak canggih sangat. Masa mula-mula more than 10 years ago, yes lah. Kita wow, dahsyat lah. Kali ni lagi dahsyat. Nampak tak? Itu sebabnya kenapa saya suruh kamu go into the IT perspective, pasal kita kan tahu banyak. OIR especially dia berkenaan dengan robotics, artificial intelligence, komputer kita upgraded to the cloud, Internet of Things. That's why you want to go that thing, yes. Okay. Dia dah tak ada lagi main-main cakap-cakap mulut, biasa-biasa, strategi biasa, urus tinggi, tak ada. No more like that. It's very, very huge. Very huge. Kena faham yang tu. Okay. Just by watching the video tu, kamu dah tahu dah. Tapi itulah dia. Pertama kali kamu tengok besar. Tapi kamu tak tengok yang lagi canggih lagi yang sekarang ada. Ada how it is. Okay now. So, for today's saya share balik yang ni. For today's presentation, okay, one good thing yang saya perhatikan dekat sini ialah the slides yang digunakan tu, saya nak kamu semua gunakan slide yang macam itu ya. Okay. Saya nak kamu gunakan slide yang seperti itu. Nabila, slide tu panggil apa Nabila? Nabila?
Ya, saya.
Slide tu jenis apa panggil ni? Dia ambil daripada komputer kan?
Ada je kat internet, boleh cari. Kat slide go pun boleh.
Okay, can you share to the class Can you share to the class? Okay, biar dia orang pakai slide tu. Dia ada macam-macam slide tu. Dia bukan yang ni je kan?
Macam-macam.
Macam-macam. Okay, I want you to start using this kind of slide. Dah tiba masa dia kamu semua tukar lah. Tak nak pakai old slide lagi, tak mau lagi dah. Dah semua teknologi bercanggih keluar. Dah bertukar, jadi all semua kena change lah. Change lah the whole thing mindset, everything kali. Presentation pun kena change. Tukar. Okay. Cuma one thing, I tengok the slide ni, one thing here, okay. Please take on. Dia tak mau lagi banyak-banyak tulisan-tulisan, banyak-banyak je tak mau. It should be very little lah, sikit je lah. Suppose it should be like this lah. Okay, macam gini. This is the best, nampak lah. Macam gini. Then you explain. Macam gini pun tak apalah. Sikit-sikit. Dia perkataan tu, every word untuk setiap facts yang nak cakap tu cuma 2-3 perkataan je. Jangan lebih daripada tu. Paling banyak pun cuma 4 je. This is the best lah. Okay. Okay, kalau kamu cerita, kamu kena cerita lah. Saya tak suruh kamu baca. I want you to tell the stories. Then you tell, what are your stories? Kebanyakan baca, saya tak mau baca. Bila kamu tulis banyak-banyak, kamu akan baca. Bila kamu baca, you get the objective of the slides presentation. Slide presentation tu is to show to the audience only. Tapi bila explanation tu, janganlah kamu baca. You have to tell the stories. Bila kamu tell the stories, baru kamu tahu apa yang kamu baca, kamu belajar, itu menunjukkan kamu faham. Jadi dia ada satu passionate feeling bahawa kamu memang mendalami topik-topik itu. If you did not do that, then kamu takkan rasa lah. Faham tak? Dia macam baca, kamu pun baca pun kamu pun tak faham. Yang dengar lagi tak faham. So no reading ya. I don't want to see you read. I want you to tell the stories. Okay? Bercerita lah apa yang kamu faham. Dia. Okay? Ni panjang sangat ni. Okay, I suppose it not should be like this lah. It should be very little. Okay, very little. 2-3 perkataan, buat macam bulat-bulat ke apa kali tu, tak apa. Semua nak like this. Some sort like this. Okay, jadi kamu faham. Macam literature review ni tak apa lah, just sikit-sikit. Tapi there should be some citation dia, quotation dia. Dia siapa. Okay, jangan panjang-panjang. Okay. Ni, okay, pergi sejalan. Pendek-pendek ni biasanya dia akan keluar macam ni, kamu kena explain. Okay. Okay, ni slide tak apalah. Okay, di sana kalau boleh lagi cantik lagi, kamu buat bulat-bulat ke, buat pattern lain ke. Jangan banyak-banyak perkataan, no need. You don't need that. It is you to explain. To tell the stories about it to the audience. Okay. Yang ni pun sama juga. Alright. So be like this lah. Macam ni It should be like this. Okay. So I told you already about this thing, yes. So next slide, I would like to see like that, okay. Jangan saya tengok ada yang lain tapi yang lain pula. Panjang tulisan is no more. Orang tak mau. Tengah lagi macam ni tak. Ini bukan tinggal apa semua dia want to know. Itu pun they just want to know the result saja. Okay. Now, ada masa sikit ni. Let me explain first sikit berkenaan dengan supply strategy ni. Jadi sebelum kamu go into the supply strategy ni, you must know what is the meaning of strategy. Remember in your ni your project assignments, there's one on the organizational strategy. Most very important one. That one I will explain later lah. Okay, bila kamu balik cuti exam. Okay, tapi strategi ni kamu kena faham apa maksud dia, okay? Because strategi ni actually management and top management will decide, especially the top management. Okay, top management. They have the vision, they have the missions, and they have the objective to achieve. So bila dia cakap satu tu, everybody has to follow. CEO, the president of the company, will decide that thing, yes. Okay, I want to increase the production by 10% mulai sekarang for the next 2 years, dia cakap. So one that they download to all the managers, especially the business development. Okay, then they have to plan up. Then after that, they have to go down to the functional strategy people. There are those the implementers. Okay, the implementer mean those head of departments. So dia kena make sure that they have enough manpower and how to execute. Okay, to execute the objective sampai dia achievable. Ni penting. Okay, jadi supply strategy ni bila dia buat tentang supply. Okay, how are we going to supply these materials to all our supplier, to all our customers? Macam mana nak buat tu? Then we need a good strategy. Okay, so we have the materials, we have the resources, we have the raw materials, okay, then the manpower and so on. So how we have to make an effective supply to the customers. Then we need a strategy. Good one. Itu sebabnya yang buat supply strategy, because the word strategy should belong to the management. The supply manager plays a very, very pivotal function. Okay, saya dah cakap dah itu hari. As a manager, okay, first kali itu, of course lah, ada scene tu memang kamu tak boleh, kamu mesti buat decision, macam mana pun kena buat decision, okay, itu tak apalah. Tapi another case here, your job, the main job, okay, your main job is to plan. As a manager, you have to do a lot of planning. Okay, strategic planning, bukan just planning, strategic planning. Ini penting ni. Your strategic thinking, your strategic planning must be good. Jadi banyaklah kena baca, kena bincang, kena meeting. Itu yang balik sampai tengah malam tu, 2-3 pagi tu. Pasal duk fikir benda lah ni lah sampai beruban kepala. Okay. Dulu kerja saya banyak benda macam ni lah. Tapi now dah tak ada lagi sangat lah. Cuma duduk dengan kamu je. Okay. So this is very important. Very, very important. And because of that, kita kena tahu lah how to objective achievable yang saya beritahu tadi ni. Nampak? Corporate planning, corporate business unit and function. Ni tiga-tiga ni nanti ada saya akan terangkan detail nanti bila timbul masa dia. Cuma kamu kena faham ini dari corporate ini automation dia factory. I want the production to increase by 20%. The next 2 years, I know that the profit margin should increase by 10%. Itu dia nak dia. Ataupun maybe dia cakap production should increase by 50%. Okay, and then but we have to reduce the manpower by 20 to 30%. Ni panjang cerita ni. How to strategize tu. Banyak kerja nak kena buat, nak kena fikir. So dia beritahu arahan saja. So the one who will do the planning will be the business unit, business strategy people. Dia akan plan the whole thing, apa yang the bosses nak. Okay. Jadi bila dia dah plan everything semua sekali dah okay, then you download to the functional strategies, that is the department heads to execute all those planning. Okay. Yang the last one is the most very important one lah, functional. Because ini is a practice. Senang, it's a practice. Means you have to make sure tau. Kamu boleh ada plan yang baik, kamu mungkin rancang dengan elok dan sebagainya, tetapi bila kamu nak suruh orang buat tu, kamu mesti ada the right person to do it. The good team, the right framework, the right attitude, the good mindset. Itu sebabnya kenapa peringkat yang functional ni mesti bermula dengan kamu. Bermula dengan kamu. Kalau kamu tak boleh have the right mindset, yang negatif semua tu kamu kena buang lah. Pasal kerja banyak setengah orang tu je malas, dia tak mau buat kerja, dia suruh orang lain buat, and then nak buat jalan shortcut, jadi passenger dalam group dan sebagainya tu, you better start to erase that thing out of your mind. You better hilangkan, because this will start from here. Sebelum kamu nak naik atas ni, this dengar. Because yang inilah yang akan menentukan kejayaan dia. Okay, from here one day kalau you dah berjaya, you akan naik pangkat ke sini lah. Okay, then one day we'll go here. Tu beza dia. Okay, now significance of the topic terangkan very well the challenges, okay, the risks, the components, 9 component of those things.